When our ancient ancestors saw beings who had the power to create these incredible vortices of wind, who had the power to terraform, who had the power to do genetic engineering and help life on Earth back onto its feet, of course, these are godlike powers from the perspective of our ancestors. If you've got a being who can literally say to the ocean, "Thus far and no further," then our ancestors would naturally say, these are our superiors, these are our gods, and worship them. The problem is, these terraforming beings were not God. And they did things that gives this away, not least that they modified our ancestors to be a slave species for them and treated us with great disregard in a number of ways, not least that in a number of these narratives there are genocides committed by these visitors who have an interest that supersedes their interest in humanity. And so when you've got these leaders who actually have no empathy towards the human race, who have engineered us much as we would engineer Dolly the sheep, and are terraforming the planet not just for our benefit, but for something that they are looking for. Now you've got a very confused picture if you think that's God, because suddenly you've got a God who can be very violent, genociding, cannot be questioned, and has no fellow feeling with the human race. If that is your image of God, and that's what you come to when you translate these other entities, the sky beings, the Elohim, as God, then the image of God you end up with is not some beautiful image of the cosmic source, a source of harmony and love and order, the source of all things. You end up with a being who is very much like an abusive and alcoholic father. And if you can imagine what happens to the psychology and well-being of a child in a home with an abusive and alcoholic father, I mean, the happiness and self-esteem of that child absolutely eviscerates. Well, that's what we do to the human race if we put the human race in a household where the ultimate being, the God, is to be tiptoed around, cannot be offended, is incredibly violent, will kill everybody if we go too far. That's where we end up. And that sort of image of God has been used by religions, it has to be said, through the centuries as a way of fear-mongering and manipulating human populations. Now that is a confusion I believe we have put on ourselves through bad translations of our ancient texts. So it's not just about retranslating ancient texts and finding technology in them and how fascinating that is. It's doing the translation work to separate the idea of the cosmic source from all the activities, beneficial and otherwise, of the ancient visitors who came to our planet after a cataclysm, terraformed it, and managed our ancestors. A God figure who has to be appeased and tiptoed around for fear of genocide is a profoundly disempowering vision for humanity. But if we can perceive ourselves as a unique race in a populated universe and finding our source in the cosmos itself and not in servitude to a superior being, does this offer a more empowering vision of humanity? For me, the reframing work that I've done in the light of my research for Escaping from Eden has reframed my whole picture of the human race, of God, the universe, and for me, it provides a far more hopeful and empowering vision of who we are and what we're capable of. It raises for me the possibility that we can live not only with better technology, but live in a more intelligent and conscious way on this planet, a way that's better for all of us.
The Fifth Kind. Click on the links in the description to watch the full video.